Have you ever locked eyes with someone who once promised to love you forever, and they looked at you like you were a complete stranger? Worse, have you ever watched the person who shattered your life stand right in front of you, smiling like you never existed? Be honest. If the person who betrayed you came back into your life today, would you speak to them, or would you walk away? Comment yes if you would say something. Comment no if you'd keep walking. And if you've ever been betrayed by someone you loved, you're going to want to hear this story. Make sure you hit that subscribe button, because this is just the beginning. It happened 8 years after she left. The woman who once held my face in her hands and whispered, "I could never lose you," stood less than 5 feet away from me and didn't even blink. She was standing in line at a quiet little coffee shop I'd never been to before. I was just there to grab a cappuccino before a client meeting. But the second I saw her, Avia Miranda, everything around me went silent. Her hair was shorter now, sleek, more polished. Same gold necklace, same posture, same smell of expensive perfume I used to pick out for her. She glanced right past me. Not a flicker of recognition. Not even a pause. That I don't know what hurt more, that she didn't recognize me, or that a part of me still wanted her to. She looked right at me and didn't flinch, didn't blink, like I was just another stranger in line. And I knew then that the woman who once swore she couldn't live without me had truly erased me from her world. She didn't recognize me until I spoke. She was 22 when we met. Bright smile, louder laugh. She had this way of entering a room and rearranging the mood without saying a word. Her name was Avia Miranda. I was 24, fresh out of grad school, just starting as a high school English teacher. She worked in digital marketing, entry level, barely making rent, but already dreaming about beachfront condos and luxury SUVs. Her ambition was intoxicating. I thought we were the perfect pair, her fire and my calm. That we got married young. Not because we had it all figured out, but because we didn't want to figure it out without each other. Our first apartment had roaches, creaky floorboards, and windows that didn't shut right. But we made it feel like home. Secondhand furniture, string lights on the walls, late-night ramen noodles on the kitchen floor, because we couldn't afford a table yet. That I thought it was beautiful. Turns out, she wanted steak and penthouses. She started climbing fast at her job, thanks to long hours and the man who managed her team, Case and Lou. He was older, polished, drove a silver Jaguar, and wore tailored suits even on Fridays. She used to roll her eyes when she talked about him. "He thinks he's God's gift to women," she'd say. I laughed. I trusted her. Maybe I shouldn't have. That I remember the night it started to unravel. It was a Friday. She said she had a late meeting with her team. No big deal, marketing life, I get it. I texted her around 9 p.m., just checking in. No response. At 10:27 p.m., I stepped out for a walk to clear my head. She still wasn't home, and that's when I saw it. Her boss's Jaguar pulled up across the street from our apartment. I was half a block away, standing under the dim glow of a streetlight. She stepped out of the passenger side, laughing at something he said. His hand lingered on her lower back just a moment too long. She didn't see me. I saw everything. She walked inside without ever looking behind her, like nothing was wrong, like the man who waited up for her every night wasn't watching from the shadows. And maybe that's when it started, the silence in my heart, the questions I didn't want answers to, the slow realization that I was sharing my wife with someone else, and I was the last to know. After that night with the Jaguar, I told myself it could have been nothing. I gave her the benefit of the doubt, because that's what love does. It makes you blind, even when the truth is punching you in the chest. But once you see the first crack, you start noticing how the whole damn wall is ready to fall. Her phone used to be an afterthought, left on the counter, screen up, always dinging. Suddenly, it was face down. Always. Password changed. Bathroom trips turned into silent typing. Sessions behind locked doors. Then came the receipts. That I was folding laundry one Sunday afternoon when a small white slip fell out of her coat pocket. Lace lingerie. $136. Boutique I'd never heard of. She said it was for a bachelorette trip with Madeline. Funny, Madeline lives in another state and hasn't been engaged since college. There were other things too. Weekend work retreats. One in Napa Valley, another in Miami. All scheduled suspiciously close to holidays we used to spend together. The final straw was Amani Burns, her coworker. She and I bumped into each other outside a bookstore. We chatted briefly, and I asked if she was going on the Miami trip too. She gave me a strange look. What trip? That was all she said. And it was all I needed. That night, I waited until Avia was in the shower. Steam fogged the mirror. Her phone was on the sink, but I knew she never left anything open. But her laptop? That was on the couch, still glowing. My hands were shaking before I even touched no password. Just the open inbox of a woman who'd already left our marriage months ago. I saw her name. I saw his emails, threads of messages, jokes that felt too familiar, attachments, pictures. One of her in a white dress I'd never seen, in a hotel mirror. Another of Kaysen shirtless, standing behind her in bed, his arms around her, both of them smiling like they had nothing to hide. But the one that broke me? A calendar invite. Romantic escape, Suite 1504, check-in, November 17th. That was our wedding anniversary. She said she was flying to Arizona for a women's marketing conference. I just didn't realize she meant her own bedroom conference. With her boss. I closed the laptop and sat there in the dark. My ears were ringing. My chest felt hollow. I didn't cry. I didn't scream. I just stared at the wall until I couldn't feel my own body anymore. Everything I believed in had just been rewritten behind my back. And the woman I promised forever to had already given hers away. I didn't sleep that night. I didn't even try. I just sat on the couch with her laptop beside me, staring at nothing. By the time Avia stepped out of the shower in her robe, humming some song I didn't recognize, I was already drowning. She saw me sitting there, froze, eyes dropped to the laptop. Her expression didn't change much. Not guilt, not fear, just recognition. Like she'd expected this moment. Eventually. I didn't yell, didn't demand answers. I just asked quietly, how long? She took a breath, then another. A little over a year, she said, like she was reporting the weather. A year. 13 months of lies, secrets, and betrayal served in a single sentence. I asked her why. Not because I didn't already know, but because some part of me wanted to believe there was something salvageable, something honest left in her. She sat across from me, looked me dead in the eyes and said, "You've always been stable, Rory, but I need someone who matches my ambition." Like I was a stone she'd stepped on to cross the river. She didn't cry, didn't apologize, didn't even try to twist it into love. Then came the final cut. "I hope one day you understand. This wasn't about love. It was about growth." Growth. That was the word she used to justify breaking every promise she ever made. To cover the fact that while I was holding our future together, she was building a new one behind my back. The next morning, she packed 2 suitcases and left without looking back. She moved in with Kaysen by the end of the week. And me? I fell apart. In slow motion, every part of my life unraveled. I stopped eating, stopped shaving, stopped showing up to work some days. I'd wake up in the middle of the night, heart pounding, reaching for a woman who wasn't mine anymore. My best friend, Jamal Atkinson, started calling daily, just to make sure I was alive. My sister, Jasmine Cook, drove in from 3 cities, over and stayed on my couch for a week, cleaned my apartment, cooked me food, watched me sit in silence for hours. They didn't try to fix me. They just stayed. But inside, I was disappearing while she was growing with her boss. I was shrinking into someone I barely recognized. Some nights, I'd stare at our wedding photo in the hallway, wondering how something so full of love could end with this much silence. I wasn't angry yet. Not then. I was just hollow. They say time heals all wounds. But that's a lie. Time doesn't heal anything. Work does. Choice does. Pain, if you let it, becomes the sharpest tool in your growth. It took me 2 years to feel human again. 3 to trust my own voice. 4 to forgive myself for loving someone who couldn't love me back. I started small. Therapy once a week. Journaling every night. Some nights I wrote nothing but her name over and over again, just trying to erase it with the weight of a pen. I changed careers. Left teaching. Found a quiet clarity in helping small businesses recover from financial loss. Maybe it was poetic, rebuilding things for other people when I was just learning to rebuild myself. I hit the gym. At first, just to tire myself out. Exhaustion was easier than heartbreak. But over time, my reflection began to change. My posture, my voice, the way I started showing up in rooms again. I moved cities. New streets, new routines. No ghosts in the grocery stores. No restaurants where I could still hear her laugh. I wrote a book. Nothing flashy. Just a quiet memoir about healing after betrayal. It didn't become a bestseller, but it helped people. And that helped me. Then came Adelie Benton. We met at a small business workshop I was speaking at. She wasn't flashy or loud. She didn't try to impress. She just listened. She asked about my story, and when I told her the truth, she didn't flinch, didn't pity me, didn't press. She just said, "We all have pasts. What matters is how we carry them. We're not in a rush." She knows I still flinch at certain songs, still check my rearview mirror too often, still wake up some nights reaching for something that isn't there, but she's patient. And patient people are rare. About a year ago, I reconnected with August Hurst, an old college friend. He still lived in our hometown. We got drinks, caught up, and somewhere between the second and third round, he said, "Man, you heard what happened to Avia?" I didn't respond, didn't ask, but he told me anyway. Turns out her picture perfect relationship with Kason Liu imploded the same way it began, with cheating. Only this time, she wasn't the secret. She was the wife. Kason got involved in a company scandal, embezzlement, ethics violations. Lost his job. Left her for a 26-year-old PR intern named Jenna Harris. I shouldn't have felt anything. But I did. Not joy. Not revenge. Just justice. The kind that doesn't knock on the door. It just slips in through the cracks. The kind that doesn't need to shout. Because it knows you'll hear it eventually. Funny how karma arrives uninvited, but always on time. It was a Thursday. Late morning. Light drizzle. I had 20 minutes to kill before a client meeting downtown, so I ducked into this little coffee shop off Jefferson Street. Quiet place. Indie music. Smell of cinnamon and espresso. I was second in line. She was first. I didn't see her face at first, just her posture. Straight back. Shoulders squared. A familiar tilt of the chin that made time stop for a moment. She turned slightly to glance at the menu board. That's when I saw her. Avia Miranda. 8 years. She looked different. Not in the ways time usually changes people. She still wore her hair, styled the same. Still carried a designer bag I probably once helped her pick out, but the sparkle was gone. Her eyes didn't dance anymore. There was a stillness in her face, like someone who had finally run out of roads to chase. That I could have walked away. Could have. Stayed silent. But something in me said, no, not this time. I stepped forward and said, "Avia, it's been a long time." She froze. Her entire body tensed like a violin string on the edge of snapping. Then, slowly, she turned. Recognition hit her like a wave. "Rory?" She whispered. I didn't recognize you." I smiled. Not out of smugness. Not bitterness. Just peace. "Most people don't recognize the people they've buried," I said. "It's okay." I dug myself out. She opened her mouth, then closed it. Struggled to form a sentence. Finally, "I was in a different place then." I nodded. "So was I? You just didn't think to look." Silence stretched between us. Not awkward. Not tense. Just honest. She finally asked, "Would you ever want to talk? Catch up?" I looked at her for a moment. Really looked. At the face I once would have burned the world for. At the woman who turned my life upside down, only to lose control of hers. And then I said, "I already have everything I need." I ordered my drink. She stood there, still holding hers, eyes fixed on a memory that no longer belonged to her. As I walked out, I didn't look back. Not because I was trying to be dramatic, but because I had no reason to anymore. I didn't need revenge. I didn't need her to suffer. I just needed this moment, to see her face and not feel anger or longing or heartbreak, just peace. Funny thing about healing. Sometimes it shows up quietly. In a coffee shop, on a rainy Thursday, wearing the same perfume you once knew by heart. But the real moment, the one that matters most, is when you realize the person who broke you no longer has the power to touch you at all. If you've ever run into the person who hurt you, what did you say? Or did you walk away? Drop a yes in the comments if you would have spoken up like I did, or an O if you would have kept moving. And if this story made you feel something, subscribe for more. Because healing doesn't always scream. Sometimes it whispers. And I'm here to tell those stories.